Peace, peace. What's happening, though? Welcome back to another episode of the Out the Way podcast. We in the building. It's your boy JD Out the Way. And man, shout out to y'all, man, for tapping into another episode, man. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all off the bat because we're talking about accountability today. We're gonna talk about accountability. I'm going off the fly with it. Man, check this out, man. I just bought a green screen, right? You know what I'm saying? You sit in the back if you're watching the visual. For those on the audio only, I just bought a green screen. Check it out. And okay, so like if I record it on like let's say Zoom, it'll probably record, but I'm actually using another platform that I wanted to record it on. But now I just realized my computer is actually outdated for to actually utilize the hardware is outdated. It's not strong enough actually to, be able to pick up the green screen or the effects and things like that. Maybe it's the chip. I'm not too tech sound like others, man. And shout out to my bro, man. He's in the tech field, my younger bro. But yeah, man. So with that, man, y'all go get this green screen though, man, because you know what I'm saying? I just paid for it. So y'all gonna see this green screen. You dig? So if you tuned in, man, watching the visual, man, you're gonna tap into this green screen, man. And that's accountability. Keeping it a buck across the board. And I kind of want to make these podcasts as real brief and just kind of like hit some points and get up out of here for now. Just as we get started, man. Episode 1, we was talking about the origin, about the way and how that looks. As I build what I'm working on episode by episode, little bit by little bit, week by week, man, I just want to just keep things a buck with y'all, man, and just talk about things that matter to me. And one of the things is accountability. Accountability, man, what does that look like to you? When you hear the word accountability, you dig what I'm saying? For me, what I want you guys to do first, though, while I explain mine, is I want you to just take a moment to realize what does accountability mean to you. You can look up the textbook definition of it. You can look up the origin of the word, the etymology of the word. That's what I love to do. I like to see where did that word exactly come from? When did it enter into existence? Is it still utilized the same way today as it was originally? And how do we, switch? When did the word transition into meaning something else if it did? I also like to look up the urban definition of words, man, like how we utilize things in our community, because that might be different from the textbook definition as well as different from the etymology of a word, which is the origin of the word. So accountability, take a moment to think about what that means to you as I give you my real brief definition of how I picture accountability. And how I picture accountability is being reliable, right? Being someone that you can depend on, dependable, right? And those are two words that I look at when I think about accountability. Like someone that you can call, they pick up the phone, you know that you can count on them 9 times out of 10. It may not be perfect, but it's damn near perfect because they got a hellified credit score. We can also look at it like a credit score. People who got, we say street cred, like say if you was a street pharmacist or whatever back in the day, currently, whatever, doesn't matter. And it was somebody that wanted to, cop some pharmaceuticals from you. And they say, man, I got you back next week. And you know that's they routine. They may not have it now, but they're going to have it later. You can depend on them to give you your bread back. And some people, you like, man, nah, bro, you got bad credit. So that means your street cred, your street credibility sucks. It's bad. It's all bad. Your credit score in the streets is a 0, a 200, 300. If you're looking at credit scores are broken down where most people, I think you start out like in the 600s. The highest, I believe, is either 900 or 800 and something, like above 850, if not 850. And decent credit, like real, like good credit is like in the 700s. Decent credit is like 680 and above, something like that, right? So if you have below 680 in the streets, yeah, you might get side-eyed about your credibility when trying to apply for some type of street credit. And that goes with not just selling stuff in the streets, that just goes with your character and your overall reputation of being a dependable person. Can I depend on this person if I need to go handle some business, man? Go ride on these dudes real quick, or go, help me to go move some furniture. So, because I'm, moving. You know what I'm saying? I need some help. I need, you know what I mean? I need some assistance, or man, I need a ride to work, or man, I need $100 real quick for whatever. Like, who is in my circle that I can rely on and depend on for what? Who in my circle that's around me that's accountable? Do you have accountable people in your circle? Because this is something that you got to look at when you are in your circle. If you're the most reliable person in your circle, if you're the most accountable person in your circle, that might not be a circle. You know what I mean? You might be in a cage, you dig? And you might be the prey. So you need to be mindful of the people that you keep it around you that's in your circle and who's able to do what. Now, we're not talking about a transactional circle. We're not talking about just a circle where everything is transactional. You know what I'm saying? Or tit for tat. We're just talking about do you have people around you that you can benefit from as well as they can benefit from you? Do you have people around you that's beneficial? Because we're all trying to get to different places. We have different goals we're trying to reach, different levels we're trying to get to in life. And if we don't have the right people around us, how are we moving forward? So you want to have people around you that's always going to be held accountable. Now let's go into some trucking lingo with this, right? Because that's the field that I got experience in 15 plus years. Now, if the load is late, the load is late. I don't give a damn what you're talking about. You're not accountable. Now, if that happens once, it can be forgiven. If you're consistently late, then you're consistently going to be out the door and you're not going to get good rates. You're not going to get no good loads. The brokers don't want to talk to you. The dispatchers don't want to talk to you. Nobody wants you a part of their company. And if you have your own company, nobody's going to give you loads. Why? Because now your company looks like they can't be dependable to get something from A to B on time. That's just how it goes. You have to be dependable. And in life, I push this out into life because life is a similar way. And I'm not talking from the usury perspective. I'm talking about in general. Life works the same way. People can look to depend on you because they may need your assistance with something. But at the same time, you should be able to utilize them for something as well. We should all have people around us that we can benefit from in some way, shape, or fashion, right? We talk about the lows, man, and delivering lows, not on time. If somebody fails you, right, and they say they're gonna do something and they don't do it, okay, one time, maybe twice, you'll let them slide with that. Now, are their actions actually changing after that? Or are they just apologizing, saying sorry, oh my bad, man? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Or are they actually showing improvement, stepping up? You know what I mean? To show you like, man, you know what? My word is my bond. Because at the end of the day, sometimes that's all we really got. All we really got is our word when it comes to anything. And that's very important. So you have to be mindful of people that you're around who's taking accountability for them not being accountable at a point in time, not being dependable, not being reliable, not being any of these things, and wanting to correct that, fix that. Or they might have to move into a different place in your life because you can't just keep carrying a big load of people, of adults especially. You know what I'm saying? When you trying to get to where you trying to get to, especially if you have a whole family yourself. And even if you don't have a family, you still are providing for yourself and you probably giving a charity, you probably helping out over here, helping out, you doing whatever you're doing because you're able to hold yourself accountable and you're able to provide for yourself. You know what I mean? So you want people around you at all times that are in some way, shape, or form are going to be of some benefit. Now, back in the day, I can say this too, man. I used to be accountable and dependable for bullshit. I ain't gonna even lie. It was always something that I got out of it, even if it was like minuscule, if it was small. It benefited me in some type of way. I was always a driver. Hence, I'm in trucking. You know what I'm saying? But I was always a driver. I'm always pulling up over here. Hey, man, we need to ride over here. Hey, man, drop me off over here. I'm moving around making drop offs. I'm moving around doing this. I'm moving around doing that. And I was taking advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? This can be a barter system. It wasn't always cash, but it was something that I needed. You know what I mean? That I was getting up out the situation. So I made myself reliable, dependable, and accountable on purpose because it was stuff that I wanted in return for me doing that. And so it wasn't always for good reason. So you have to be mindful on where your dependability lies, where your reliability lies, and where your accountability lies. It could be for bullshit or it could be for some real shit. So you need to be mindful of how you see yourself. I was talking about in the first episode how it took me a long time to actually trust myself, right? And that took a minute. But even within that mind frame that I was in at the time, I trusted that I'm finna get this about this little situation and I'm finna be somebody that you can depend on while I'm in my, this crazy mindset that I'm in, you know what I mean? And living this certain type of life of just being out in the streets and maneuvering, thinking like whatever thoughts, because we always think coming up like, "Oh, man, I'm about to get 1 million or something out these streets, man." No, you're not, man. You know what I'm saying? The most you gonna get is maybe some tens of thousands. If you're lucky, maybe hundreds of thousands. That's about it. Everybody's not gonna be Frank Lucas. Everybody's not gonna be BMF. Everybody's not gonna be any of these guys. You did what I'm saying? Like these people are, some of the few of the hundreds of thousand people that's out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? That made it to that type top tier level. To be some type of and these people looked up to the John Gottis of the world and all these different things. Now you can go out here and think like you're different and you might be that one, and that's okay. But just make sure you stay accountable and hold yourself accountable for all that you do. And whatever you do, you take accountability for that. That's the key to this, man. Let me see. I have some notes. I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, man, I gotta jot these notes down a little bit better as time goes on, man. So let me try to see if okay, so the silent scoreboard, nobody announces when they stop trusting you. Once you fail people so many times or you stop being reliable, dependable, or you start moving different, moving funny, you start losing people, man. Man, some of them people that you lose, man, can really hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't think that you did something wrong or, you kept thinking that they was gonna keep putting up with that same old, and they didn't. You know what I mean? They said, man, enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? And when you full of shit, when you on your BS, hey man, some people ain't gonna be there forever, man. They just not. That's just not how the ball bounces. That's just not how the game goes. Some people dodge accountability because survival is not a weakness. Nobody ever taught them to be accountable. Nobody held them accountable when they was young. The people that came up around was always blaming somebody else. So that's all that they saw. Accountability is taught, is learned. You see that, coming up. That's something that's in your household, on your street corners, around the people that you're growing up, the circles that you running in, who's holding who accountable. You know what I mean? So you got to be mindful of that. Change person still carries their record. So even if you do change, just know, okay, you still got to build up your credit. You know what I'm saying? Because your credit is at a 400. You need to get that thing back up to a 680. It's going to take some time. So you're going to have to put in some work to build your credibility back up so people know that they can count on you. You become accountable again. And just like with your credit score, you might have a higher interest rate. You dig what I'm saying? That you have to pay. You might have to put up more, you know what I mean? And on the front end, so you can see it on the back end eventually, because they'd be like, oh, okay, he did put up this much, you know what I'm saying? He did, you know what I mean? He took on a heavier load and he saw it through because people need to know that they can trust you now, that your credibility is back good. A lot of times when you mess up your credibility, you can mess it up quick and it takes you years to repair your credibility back up, man. That's one of the ways, them withdrawals, because see, each time you fail somebody, those are small withdrawals that's coming out to where that bank account is finna have a zero balance. It's about to be super negative. So you got to continue to make deposits, continue to make deposits. So when you do go ask for that loan, even if it's a secure loan, right? You have that money in the bank. You got them deposits that you've been making. You know what I mean? When you do go solo, if you've been trucking for years or you've been trucking for a year, or you just getting into the game and you want to build up your credit and become accountable to these brokers. First of all, you're going to need a year in the first place. It doesn't matter if you just starting out with your own business or if you just starting out as a driver. You're going to need a year before certain companies, whether it's trucking companies or brokerage firms rock with you. There will be a few that's gonna mess with you, but the ones that really open up more is after that successful year. They want to see you been in the game for at least 1 year before they start rocking with you. They want to make sure that you're reliable, dependable, and accountable. That's what that is. So that's how the game goes, man. So we're gonna pretty much wrap it up here, man. Hold yourself to the same standard you hold others to. That's what I want to tell y'all. Hold yourself to the same standards that you hold others to. What standard do you hold yourself to? Is it a different standard than you hold others to, or is it the same standard? Man, make sure that your standard is a high standard. You have, you keep your values high. You raise your values. You constantly raise your values. Be the driver people request by name, using trucking lingo. Don't be that jar like, oh nah, man, y'all, you got anybody else? Oh well, Larry's available. Not Larry, man. Is John available? Well, John, nah, he's booked, man. He's already booked. Be that driver that's booked and busy, man. Because why? Because now those rates are going to increase because they know that they can depend on you to get the job done and get something from A to B, and they ain't gotta worry. You dig what I'm saying? So be that way on your job, whatever field you work in, show up early. Do more than is expected. Have a game plan and an exit strategy. You know what I'm saying? For whatever plantation you on. Make sure you are just one of them people that, man, they can't do nothing without you, basically. You know what I'm saying? They will miss you when you're gone. You dig what I'm saying? That's how that goes. So yeah, man, that wraps up episode 2, man, of Out the Way podcast. We was talking about accountability today, man. Just getting things started, man. I appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in for episode 2, man. I'm looking forward to tapping back in with y'all for episode 3 and keeping this thing going, growing. You know, uh, podcast by podcast, man. Holla at your boy, man. Peace. It's your boy JD Out the Way. I'm gone.